All right, so in the spirit of the playoffs, we get a little bit more contested with the score when it gets to the pointy end, and we see a lot of games come down to the wire, go to OT, or have a game-winning shot, or have a game-winning shot that misses. And this happens throughout. And I don't know about you. I need your help, right? As someone who's also, very involved in basketball, coached, played, watched a lot. I need your help because I need to understand this. And I'm gonna drag this out for pause dramatic effect just to really get the click going. When the game is tied or the game is a 1 point difference and a team has a chance to get a shot, why is it usually a 3 point attempt? I do not understand. This is inspired today by the Warriors beating the Kings by one and watching Harrison Barnes get an open or semi-open three, depending on what you think of the coverage. But the Kings had about 5, 6 seconds to run offense there, right? Why is a three the shot? And this isn't the only example that we could pull out here. There are many games that this occurs where there's a game where 3, 5 seconds left, and it's like, oh, well, you know what? We've just got to take a three. I understand defensively, it's probably a one-on-one matchup. You can get a little bit of a shake and get a shot off. But how is it that professionals, out of a timeout a lot of the time, can't manifest anything or even appear to manifest anything? Because maybe you could try to run a play and it gets broken up, so then you default to that. But how often do we watch someone just take a three when it's a tie game or it's a 1 point game? I
I,
need your help.
I actually, I look, I like your question. I guess let's talk about the situation that unfolded today. Effectively, the game four, Kings Warriors, and then obviously Harrison Barnes ended up with the ball at the end. He missed the three, semi-contested, like you said, and the Kings lost, and now it's tied 2-2. I guess the first thing when I watched this, and luckily I've seen this replay, I've seen this highlight, I guess, that I think the Kings had the right idea. You know, they put the ball in the hands of De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox obviously I think just won the award for Clutch Player of the Year or some new award that's being given out at the moment. And De'Aaron Fox tried to create a shot for himself. I think the play before he just drilled that three to bring them within 1 point, I think. And so, he's feeling it, and he was trying to, create a shot for himself. Strategically, for the Warriors' point of view, I think they sent a double and help over across to him because they knew that was probably going to be the odds that they're going to put the ball in his hand. So it was the strategy would have been force the ball out of De'Aaron Fox's hands. Anybody else shooting it is still a better bet than the Clutch Player of the Year taking this last shot. And so I guess in a sense, from what I saw there, De'Aaron Fox burnt a fair bit of time trying to obviously find his shot, couldn't find it, drew the double team, kicked it open over to the open man or semi-open man, and he had to jack it up because time was then running out at that point. I think, you know, I think I don't think that shot was too bad. Okay. We've seen Harrison Barnes hit a shot like that before, a few seasons ago. I think maybe a little bit further out, even from that sort of left corner, at the 45 in a sense. So it's a shot he could have made, but he didn't. Um, I think ultimately though, the perimeter shots, the 3 point shots you're talking about, and why do players keep taking a 3 point shot when they may not necessarily need a three? He could have taken a two, a 15-footer if he was there on the court. Okay, is you're going to find more space at the three. I think that's the bigger reality. The more you drive in, the more the defense will collapse on you from a strategic point of view. So unless you can clear the paint, unless you can clear the paint with how you structure your screens and how you organize your players, you're going to find more space for that 3 point shot. And I guess nowadays, players out there can shoot. A lot of players can shoot and shoot from range. And that shot is not really that many more percentage points lower than what you would expect them to drive into traffic. And I think that's how maybe the game's evolved a little bit too. I guess if you go back to footage in the 90s or 80s and stuff, and you had to get a game-winning shot, you probably would never see a three at all.
I guess the thing is, he had an open three. Why not a step in for an open two? Why not a cut towards a basket for an open floater? Like, we acknowledge that the double came, he's getting an easy shot. Why is there no movement? Right? Because it's not just specific to the Kings. We see it all the time. We see an ISO player go off and everyone stands around. And if a double does come, then there's a kick out and then there's an open shot. But where is this movement? Where is this fluidity? Because you feel like chaos in that situation, personally, chaos in that situation is what the Kings should have went for. They were in one possession, and it's a hostile, home crowd towards them, and they've got a chance to really hit the key, force the refs to make a decision, or even just statistically get a better shot. I understand that open threes are good, but at what distance does a contested two suddenly feel a little bit more viable? And then also the ultimatum of will force the referee to make a call. I think so many teams are paranoid about letting them like hitting a game winner and then letting the other team having a window of opportunity to win the game back. And, we kind of saw that a little bit as well, just to bring in another game with Denver and Minnesota, right? Where, Ant goes down on a low stakes play because if he misses the shot, they go to overtime. But you kind of wonder, like, hey, like if we actually work really hard right now to get a game winning shot, we don't play 5 minutes more of overtime. We don't have to do anything else. We've done it right here, right now. And I just feel like there's not a lot of emphasis on that game winning opportunity and the default to the three, which ironically, in this situation for the Kings, if they hit that three, Golden State could still hypothetically go back and just get it straight back. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I get what you're saying, but I just feel like the urgency isn't there. I feel like we just default a lot and we're like, oh, we'll conserve our energy for another 5 minutes of play instead of like
I
really just getting it done.
I haven't seen the. Are you talking about at the end of regulation in the game that went OT for T-Wolves and
Yeah,
Nuggets? I haven't
yeah, yeah.
seen the highlights from that game, so I probably can't comment on that. I guess though, what you alluded to at the start there was, um, could Harrison Barnes have gotten a better look when he got the ball? And I guess maybe you take that question a step back as a spectator here, as a commentator to consider what we saw unfold effectively, and we sort of never know this in a sense that what was a secondary option out of the timeout for De'Aaron Fox. So I guess that's the thing that is not always drawn up, whether that's at a junior level that we've coached at, or whether that's at a high level at the best league in the world sometimes too. And effectively, there's a lot of, and you already sort of know this, there's a lot of moving pieces that you got to get your players all on the same page. And you gotta everyone needs to know what they're trying to do. And more often than not, you're trying to just go, all right, spread the floor, give it to your best player, let him create. Yeah, maybe there's a screen coming up for him, or something like that, and that's about it. I guess it would be nice in a perfect world is if the Kings maybe had drawn up a plan B. If De'Aaron Fox doesn't get the space that he needs, is there an off-ball screen maybe somewhere that's trying to trigger another player that's going to pop out free that he's going to be a secondary option here in this 5 seconds or so left in this game? But I think that's rarely drawn up. I think that's really drawn up, and then even more so, I think that's really executed to the requirements of it actually being, that can be applied into a game.
I just I just don't know. Like you're talking about a team of professionals, you're talking about, anyone who wants to go and do it. Like watch these highlights and it's like, how is there no off-ball cutting? How is there just no chaotic movement? Like in that shot that was created today, there's not even a chance really for an offensive rebound. Like I just don't get it. I don't understand how when a shot goes up in a game-winning context that not everyone's crashing the boards. I think easily simplistic from this standpoint, right? In retrospect, to look at a play and say, why didn't you do X, Y, and Z? But again, what I'm alluding to is there's so many games where this happens where someone just puts up a shot and you live or die by it. And I don't know, maybe I'm oversimplifying the sport, but it's surprising that there isn't more urgency placed on some of those game winning shots a lot of the time. I get it. You don't want to like crowd the paint to prevent what the ISO player may or may not want to do. But spoiler alert, like the ISO player 9 times out of 10 wants to take a contested dribble pull up most of the time, a step back. They're not beating their defender off the dribble to go towards the basket. And there's so many patterns here of game winning behavior that I think we've seen to death now.
I think look, you touch upon all valid points. Don't get me wrong. I'm not disagreeing you on these topics you're raising here. we could almost have a spin-off here how we break down late game situations or, terrible plays in the NBA perhaps. But I just brought up the clip actually. So I've got it paused right now in the clip. They've inbounded here. De'Aaron Fox has the ball at 8 seconds left at half court. And Harrison Barnes is the guy that's coming up, sitting in the high screen here. They've put Sabonis here in the dunker spot. And the other two players are obviously spreading the floor. All right. That effectively to me would have been what was discussed in the timeout. Okay, basically send a screen up here, try and cause a switch here on the screen. Okay, which they obviously, they got Steph Curry here, but Draymond obviously doesn't doesn't bite on overplaying Barnes here. All right, so basically De'Aaron Fox here has burned 5 seconds nearly on the clock here, trying to beat the players here from the top. If you did this differently, and looking at the frame here in front of me right now, you would probably send maybe this guy in the dunker spot here. I think it is Sabonis here, probably further to the perimeter. But here's the thing: he's not a shooter. He's not a shooter. Yeah, he's not necessarily known for his 3-point corner, shot sort of thing. So Looney would have not rotated fully out on that weak side anyway. So I guess, do you make a substitution there? Do you put another shooter on the floor? I don't know. I can't really see the numbers here who's actually on the floor, but do you put another shooter there? So maybe make Looney make a decision. Do you go slide out to him? Because if De'Aaron Fox can drive and kick, you got an open corner three. I don't know. These are all decisions you make, I guess, in that timeout as the coaching staff that, what is your best option? And effectively, as the clock dwindles down here, they kick it out. Harrison Barnes shoots it, and ball hits the rim, and time expires. There's probably no time for that one dribble, 20-foot, 20-foot jump shot for Harrison Barnes at that point. That's probably the greater analysis of this play, which you obviously have brought up.
Yeah, and look, I'm watching it in real time as well. So I guess, for anyone, maybe if you put the video footage up here, if you have a look, that shot goes up, let's say a second to a second and a half earlier. That crashing the boards mentality would have actually paid off at the Kings because they did secure that rebound at the end. If you look, zero, I cannot remember zero for the top. I think it's Malik Monk, but I could be wrong. His player is too worried about securing the rebound. He didn't box out, right? So he gets that. The other two players did crash the boards pretty well. That's great. But again, when you watch this, and you'll watch it as well, Harrison Barnes is sitting on the three, right? But there is a moment where De'Aaron Fox drives. Why is that not the opportunity? Like, again, retrospect, easy for me to sit here and say this is what he should have done. But Harrison Barnes settled to have a jump shot. He's not in a shooter's stance, really. Like, he's not sitting there waiting for the shot. And in my opinion, there is a lane. It's not a good lane because he would have both Clay and Draymond collapse onto him for this. But surely he could make something happen.
So where are you saying here? Where are you saying here? Fox could have driven it into the paint when he goes left?
No. De'Aaron Fox has picked the ball up at the elbow, and it's 3.4 on my screen. What I'm seeing currently is that Harrison Barnes is open on the three right now, and could already be making a beeline for the ring. There is what, in my opinion, is a relatively straight line. Easy to say because within a second, right, it will disappear. But
Draymond's right in that passing lane.
No, Draymond's contesting the pass. Have a look. At 2.9, I'm doing a quick pause here. 2.9, Draymond's right on it, and Steph is going to be the one that rotates over. Now, I don't know about you. I'd want to take Steph on the drive here, right? And Steph felt that pass coming, but Harrison Barnes hasn't moved yet. What I'm saying is Harrison Barnes could have made a beeline for the ring. Again, easy revisionist stuff. But what I'm saying is,
I don't think it's as easy as you're breaking this clip down right now. Obviously, we've got the clip now in front of both of us. We're looking at it. I think, and look, obviously Mike Brown, just won Coach of the Year. So he knows how to coach, right? The Kings have won a lot of games this year, more than they have for many, for a decade. And obviously, you probably have a different strategy, and I might even have a different strategy right now. I think though it's probably, if you did this over again, okay, I think you're looking to load your floor with shooters here, and know that you are only going to get one shot. Okay, so again, I'm going to talk about Sabonis perhaps not necessarily needing to be on the floor on this possession. I don't think Kevin Huerter, I think is that his name, is on the floor, and he's obviously a shooter. They've got Keegan Murray, I think, in the corner. We know he can shoot, made most threes as a rookie, I think, or something like that. So I don't know. I think you make some slight differences there again with the players on the floor. Look, I don't think the shot that they got was bad. Could they have got something better? Sure. Would we having this conversation if they made it? It's a whole different conversation.
I think we're going to go back and forth. So I want to make sure that my final thoughts are captured in clear, concise thing. This is not a unique occurrence. There are many contested shots or kickouts after being doubled that occur at the end of game situations. There needs to be, like, if I was a coach of a team, my emphasis would be in these situations where it's tight or it's 1 point, crash, cut, whatever it is to get a better shot. Because even though he got a good look at three, if Draymond and Steph had communicated better, because there's an aspect there where that's a defensive breakdown where Draymond has inadvertently switched and Steph behind the play has to come across to contest Harrison Barnes. If they had contested that properly, Harrison Barnes gets contested by Draymond Green, and really they broke up the play quite well. It's just that it's a habit. It's a habit that doesn't occur across the league. Most players don't really cut towards the ring. They watch their ISO superstar go. And De'Aaron Fox is definitely the player you would let ISO and go, considering he does win Clutch Player of the Year and obviously leads the league in fourth quarter points. But to me, it's just one of those things that we're going to watch another game, these playoffs, where it's going to be tied or it's going to be won, and they're going to take another long shot. And it's why. All right. So when that happens, and anyone who's watching, just imagine me wherever I am at that moment. I'm just questioning why that's happening yet again.
This is Two Guys with Spare Time. I'm Faz, this is Nick. You're probably a basketball fan like us, so hopefully you can throw us an assist and giving our video a like and subscribing to our channel.
And if you got thoughts, feelings, or even some suggestions, please put them down in the comment section below. And thank you for using your spare time to watch us in our spare time.